Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome at the English news program here at Ora News. And now, tonight's news. After the scandal of the theft of 713 million lek in the Central Bank of Albania, the socialist deputy, Fatmir Koçi, stated that the leaders of the Bank of Albania must resign from their duty. Talking from the studio of Ora News in Vlora, the socialist deputy said that the level of management is the one responsible for this scandal. The member of the Socialist Party was totally sure when he stated that if the governor does not resign, then this scandal will not be fully discovered. Considering the current situation, Mr. Toci recalled the theft scandal of gold and pyramids, since the responsible people for both of these incidents have not yet been discovered. The people of Elbasan have signed today a petition which considers the dismissal of the governor of the Central Bank of Albania, Ardian Fullani, regarding the theft conducted at the institution he leads. The citizens of Elbasan say that they feel frustrated about the lack of moral responsibility from Fullani, but also from the indifference of the judiciary system. According to the citizens, Governor Fullani must face the law, since the law is equal for everyone. I am surprised. I came here on vacation, and when I heard interviews, I believe that if the prosecutor does not do his job regarding this case, then he should immediately resign. His wealth needs to be verified. Not only his wealth, but the wealth of the people around him as well needs to be verified, because they stole our money. If the responsible people do not resign, then we will protest and restore the dignity of the nation, said one of the citizens. We signed the petition to remove the governor of the bank as soon as possible. Fullani thinks he has no responsibility because he is associated with the police. Politics is all to blame, said another citizen. I signed it because the governor stole with both hands, said another citizen. The economic situation is very bad and they steal people's money, added both citizens. The petition for the discharge of Ardian Fullani started yesterday in Tirana and today is also being signed in Elbasan. The petition will last for 10 days and sources say that yesterday 1,000 people signed it. Through a press conference, the Forum of Shkodra talked about the theft in the Central Bank of Albania and asked from the citizens to react against this scandal. The forum also mentioned the Albanian politics that put their personal interest over the national ones. The Forum of Shkodra also demanded the dismissal of the governor and the verification of his wealth. As citizens of Shkodra and taxpayers of the Republic of Albania, as the voice of the civil society absent in the city of Shkodra, the Forum of Shkodra denounces and harshly reacts against the theft of the treasury, which is supposed to be at the safest location in Albania. The theft scheme, the complete failure of the control mechanism, the failure to have responsibilities or delayed feedback produced mismanagement of monetary and financial system in Albania. As if this were not enough, we are facing today with a silence policy about this scandal. Until now, the governor holds no moral and professional responsibility. We are concerned that the responsible institutions do not take any legal actions for the removal of the governor and the seizure of his illegal money, said Senida Mesi, a member of the forum. In the end, this forum distributed some brochures with a picture of the banknote €500 and the picture of Fullani. The forum urged the citizens of Shkodra to join the reactions for the dismissal of the governor. According to the prosecution of Albania, Ardian Bitraj is the only theft of the 713 million lek from the Central Bank of Albania, from the issue department of the Bank of Albania, located in Linz, Tirana, and also known as Department X. In summarizing the results of the investigation, so far the General Prosecutor's Office announced that Bitraj is accused of the theft and duty abuse. If this charge, provided by Article 135 of the Criminal Code, will be proven in the trial process, Bitraj can be punished with imprisonment up to 10 years and a fine from 300,000 up to 1 million lek. 8 other employees of the bank, among them the director of issue department, Dorian Cholaku, are accused of duty abuse, from which Bitraj has benefited. If this charge, provided in Section 248 of the Penal Code, is verified, then they will be punished with imprisonment up to 7 years and a fine from 300,000 to 1 million lek. While failure to report a crime provided in Section 300 of the Criminal Code, for which Mimosa Brozia, the specialist of the ARC in action, is accused for, but also Bitrai's nephew, Clevis Beite, is proved, they will be punished with fine or imprisonment up to 3 years. According to investigative actions, Bitrai profited from the shortcomings and from the fact that there was not a regulation in Department X. Ardian Bitrai, contrary to the rules, opened the door of the vault at the stock office. He was the person who carried the keys of the ARC where the banknotes were. After closing the vault's door, the banknotes with the appropriate instruction should be deposited in the vault of the cash for action. Prosecution officially declares that the investigative actions are continuing and are being focused on at least 4 issues: the full verification of the mechanism theft, the destination of the stolen amount, the investigation of property of people suspected of being involved in this event, and the verification of responsibilities for managing and organizing work, as well as for the implementation of legal and regulatory framework governing the activities of this institution. The Democratic Party expressed that they will not participate in the next elections of 2015, considering the new territorial reform. The leader of the Democratic Parliamentary Group, Edi Paloka, during an interview given for Channel 1, said that even the Socialist Party itself would not take part in elections with such a division. Paloka stressed that the Democratic Party will use every legal means to overthrow the reform that this party considers as unconstitutional. As for the local elections, we still do not have a political decision. For the moment, we have other interests that are not only in the interest of the Democratic Party, but also in the interest of the citizens related to the so-called territorial reform, which is not only unconstitutional, but contrary to the interest of the Albanian citizens, something that has been proved during this period. Protests from all over the country have shown that it is not in the interest of citizens. Elections are the last problem to us. We will do all the steps so that this reform passed in the parliament with the votes of the majority only would not be implemented. We will follow all legal and political steps in order to leave these reforms only in the plans of Edi Rama. One of the last paintings of Rama that he has drawn is the map. Let him keep it as a souvenir in his house. We will not allow the implementation of this reform. According to us, it is unacceptable. Maybe the Socialist Party itself does not participate in the elections with this map. There may be no elections with this map, stated Paloka. The Democratic Party made a summary of the security situation in the country for the month of July, stating that the situation is deteriorating in every direction. In a media outlet from the headquarters of the Democratic Party, the Democratic member of the parliament, Arben Ristani, said that while Rama was dealing with his imaginary successes of 300 days, crime in the country was increasing. As in July, Edi Rama and his ministers were busy with parades of imaginary successes of 300 days. All the indicators of order in the country have suffered a shocking deterioration, making insecurity unaffordable for the citizens, said Ristani. According to him, the amount of drug that crosses the Albanian border has increased. The number of murders and crime has also increased, and accident statistics show an increase. And all these are done when Rama and Tahiri fill the streets with advertisements of their great successes. Rama and Tahiri are still under the delirium of Lazarat, but only within the 2 weeks, 2 drug loads with 3 tons and 124 kilos of marijuana have passed through our border and are seized in Italy. Edi Rama has filled Tirana and the whole country with advertisements on the road showing their success in order, while a jewelry store was robbed in the middle of the day and in the heart of the capital, where its owner remained injured. Official statistics show the reality of the great failure of Edi Rama and Saimir Tahiri in providing order and public security. Deterioration compared to June of this year, after 3 more people have died from homicide, accidents, and 3 more casualties than in June. Deterioration as the number of housing, theft with weapons, and violence has significantly increased. 121 houses, burglary in July, 23 thefts with violence, and 11 armed robberies, said Ristani. This is the real balance of order and security in the country, which worsens from month to month, which affects the citizens every day. When insecurity increases, Rama and Tahiri continue with their advertising. Edi Rama's performance are tales that cannot cover this monumental favor of the government in its primary duty, that is safety and security, he said, among other things. The Democratic Party continued to accuse the government regarding the closure of some private universities in the country. Through the coordinator of this party, Ervin Saliani, the Democratic Party says that the chief inspector that the Ministry of Education and Sports has chosen to control universities' results to have a false doctoral degree. Edi Rama closed with arrogance and in overnight dozens of universities in the country, allegedly to show that he has a different model for education. But his model for education is now discovered. The chief inspector is under indictment for having a fake degree, says Saliani. According to him, important French media, such as The Figaro, wrote about the case of a convicted by the court who received money in exchange for phantom degree. Further on, the coordinator says that Edi Rama's chief inspector for quality in education, the model of excellence in education, according to Edi Rama, Eliona Isufi, turns out to be a graduate of the French swindlers convicted by the court of Tirana. The inspector of criteria, standards, quality of universities is without a diploma degree, which she alleges to have. This fact seriously compromises the act of Edi Rama and proves how serious he is about the reform in higher education. The Democratic Party encourages law enforcement, bringing those responsible and lawbreakers before justice, because this reform is desperately needed, but it should be carried out in a transparent manner, with consultancy based on public and students' interest, and not for the favor of friends and clients, he concluded. The Democratic Party once again accused Prime Minister Edi Rama regarding his silence for what they called the incrimination of the socialist member of the parliament, Arben Doga. Edi Rama has not reacted for 30 days regarding the incrimination that he made to the parliament and for the reaction of violence teams against the opposition in an effort to shut its mouth. 30 days ago, Edi Rama led an attack on the representatives of the Democratic Party after the denunciations of including persons with criminal precedents in the assembly. Thereafter, the entire audience saw the representatives of crime in parliament, but Edi Rama continues to be silenced. The entire audience saw who is the person who Rama wanted to have in the parliament, by all means, Arben Doga, convicted of kidnapping and prostitution traffic. But Rama is still silent. From 30 days, he has chosen to make the defendant before the shocking facts and documents for his appointees. The silence of Rama is a living proof of the criminal alliance he created before the elections, with which he is governing today, said the statement of the Democratic Party. A serious car accident occurred yesterday in the district of Shkodra. The vehicle car, which 6 people were traveling in, went out of the way, falling into the abyss. Police sources have indicated that the accident happened near Kiri. The vehicle fell into an abyss about 80 meters. After some flips in a row and a powerful collision, the vehicle had at the end of the abyss the Italian citizens, Giorgio Faraggiano, 67 years old, who immediately died, and Polo Muri, 35 years old, from the village of Nichai of Shoshi, while was being transported to the hospital. The driver, Fation Pietri, Cristian Gini, 23 years old, Fran Deda, 34 years old, Eralt Papleka, 22 years old, also remained injured from the accident. 6 of the injured were traveling from Dukajini to Shkodra, and at the moment they were near the place called Guri Mashit, the driver had lost direction, and consequently the vehicle fell into the abyss. There were several people in the area that saw the vehicle falling into the abyss, and they have immediately called the police and started to help the victims until the arrival of the police. Police effectives and forces of rapid intervention went to the scene. According to the doctors, the condition of the survivors is grave due to injuries they had. In the early hours of the morning, the driver, Fatjon Pietri, was sent to the Hospital of Trauma in Tirana. The investigation group has started its work to uncover the full causes of this serious incident, while it is suspected that the amortized road have influenced the 28-year-old Pietri to lose the direction of the vehicle. According to the relatives of the victim, the 67-year-old Italian citizen was returning from Dukagjin after closely inspecting the area because on Sunday he would accompany a group of Italian tourists there. He lived in Shkodra, where he also had a travel agency that accompanied foreign tourists who visited the north. The Minister of Youth and Social Welfare, Erion Veliaj, responded today to the allegations made earlier by the head of the National Council of People with Disabilities, Sinan Tafaj. The minister said that these associations, before require the indexing of disability payments, they should cooperate with the ministry to remove from the list of benefits those who abuse. According to the minister, people who have only some small problems with their eyes or who have optical glasses are treated as blind. If the same associations that do not want to remove abusers want the increase of indexing, then there is something that does not work. First, they should help us to remove abusers from the list of benefits. With the money we save by removing abusers from the list, we can use that money to increase indexing. Only in the last month, we have removed 30% of abusers, and we have had a decrease of 2% of the list, which means that we have removed hundreds of abusers. The same group that require indexing, the same seek the protection of the abusers, said Veliaj. Another concern that was raised by the disabled people was the possible delays of receiving the money of disability that may be given in the autumn of this year. Minister Veliaj, although not directly declaring it, hinted that if these schemes are not removed, there would be a possible delay of distributing the money. We have two operations, funds to pay, but of course the operation to remove abusers. The principle for this year and every other year is that if more abusers leave, more funds are added, said the minister. Minister Veliaj assured all people with disabilities that the reformation will continue and that the new law only gives financial support to those who deserve it, not to those who are registered, in order to benefit from this scheme. The municipality of Tirana has started its work to rehabilitate the center of Mother Teresa in the context of the visit of Pope Francis in our country. The decision to rehabilitate the square was made at the meeting of the city's council on the 23rd of July, which unanimously decided the rehabilitation of Mother Teresa Square and declaring Pope Francis an honorary citizen. The municipality suggests that the square will be rehabilitated with the funds of the institution. Although the agenda of the Pope is not made public yet, it is thought that the solemn Mass of Sunday of the 21st of September will be held in the square Mother Teresa, for which local authorities are taking the necessary measures for this square to undergo a comprehensive intervention for a short time, about 2 months. Pope Francis is the second Holy Father who visits Albania after the visit of Pope John Paul II on the 25th of April of 1993. A speedboat owned by Shamsi Zemani, the owner of a joinery in Vlora, went in flames today at noon in Orikumi Yacht. Luxurious speedboats was in the yacht harbor, and a group of friends of Zemani would make a tourist trip with it. From the first data is learned that Zemani was doing a repair on the motorboat engine when the explosion happened. The speedboat sank while the owner suffered severe burns on parts of the body. Shamsi Zemani is brought urgently to Tirana to get a proper treatment, but he is out of danger for his life. From the first data, it is suspected that the cause might have been a spark. non-government organizations in Kosovo have little impact in the high-profile political issues in the country. This was said during the presentation of the Index of the Sustainability of Civil Society organized by USAID. This report states for 2013, Kosovo has been rated with 3.9 points in a scale from 1 to 7. This report says that 2013 has registered new trends which lie in new streams of civil society. It also said that citizens have continued to organize themselves and demand a more responsible, transparent, and effective governing. Based on this report, a number of organizations in cooperation with several civil monuments have had more impact on several public issues. Some of the successes of the civil society organizations also consisted on their involvement in the overthrow made by the Constitutional Court of several amendments of the Bill on Microfinancial Institutions, the Bill on Amnesty, and the improvements in the anti-corruption legal framework. Kushtrim Shaipi of the Sustainability Index said that this report puts Kosovo among those countries with a progressive sustainability. Meanwhile, Sarah Bekanen, head of the USAID Office for Democratization in Kosovo, said that NGOs plays a role in enriching democracy, and according to her, there have been many changes since 1999. The publication of this year's index covers developments of civil society and the progress of civil society organizations in the index of 29 countries for the last 17 years. Hundreds of Albanian citizens have protested today in Skopje against the so-called Monstra case, following life imprisonment sentences handed out to 6 Albanians by a court in Skopje. Protesters were not allowed by police special units to submit their demands to the government of the Independent Republic of Macedonia. Police cordon stopped them at Marovasia crossroad, where organizers of the protest and families reiterated their request. The head of the Committee of Protest, Bedi Aidari, demanded from Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski and his governing cabinet to explain why the protest was not allowed to take place in front of the government building. Why are we not being allowed to protest by the government if we have a permission to protest and our protest is peaceful? Do they think that they will not be held responsible for the injustice made to Albanians? Declared Aidari. Meanwhile, former member of the parliament, a prominent Albanian politician, in former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia, Husni Shahiri, invited Albanian parties to join this protest against those who deprive Albanians of their rights. We are here to support those who have been unfairly jailed by this government and who have been put in front of us an outrageous cordon, declared Shahiri. Another representative of the protest, Daim Lushi, once again read the request of the protesters who demand the release of defendants of Monstra case and those who were arrested during the protest. Our requests are very rational. International community too believes that the protests have a political nature. We will address Strasbourg about this injustice, and we have lost all hopes on our course, declared Luci. Following this declaration, the protest ended and protesters dispersed. Economic sanctions, which Russia has presented to some countries, will make room for a huge investment in exports to the Serbian products, said Zlekio Srtić, the president of the Serbian Chamber of Commerce, thus reacted after it was announced in Moscow that the Russian response to Western sanctions would be to, for a year, ban imports of agricultural products from those countries. According to Srtić, the Russian market is open primarily for plums produced in Serbia, but also for other agricultural and manufactured projects, especially dairy and confectionery. He appealed to domestic producers to organize their potential and added that he has sent a request to all municipalities to detect those companies that have the ability to export to the Russian market. Also, companies with obligation to others in the region, the European Union, and other areas should continue to meet those obligations, said Srtić. It is important to note that our business people who want to take part in the Russian market should be aware that it is not completely different from what it used to be. The Russian market is now much more complex, the requirements are much more specific and higher, and expansion services carry out more control than before, said Sertic. Last year, 768 Serbian companies exported different goods to the Russian market, he noted. Even before August 1st, when sanctions were imposed on imports of agricultural products from Poland, and especially since the decision was made to introduce economic sanctions against all countries that had imposed sanctions on Russia, we had a specific agreement with Russia and the possibility to export most of our products without paying custom duties as special taxes, explained Sertic. That was the news edition prepared for today. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.